With KC podcast. I, of course, am your host, KC Phoenix, and I came across this and thought it was interesting. So I was like, okay, let me go ahead and cover the story. Usually I look for like odd news stories on odd websites and stuff, but this one happened to come across my phone. So I was like, okay, let me go ahead and talk about it. So, looks like McDonald's, or a specific McDonald's, is paying $50 an hour. But there's a catch. It's only on a certain day. I guess it's like the busiest day that they have. And yeah, I'll go into that in a second. But first, KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. This podcast is carried on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Overcast, Bullhorn, Amazon Music, Audible, and several other podcasting platforms. Please feel free to listen to this podcast on whatever platform is most convenient for you. KIRWKC on all the social media platforms. All right. So, let's go over this. It says, catch me working all 24 hours. McDonald's worker says, as manager gave employees $50, as in 50, $50 an hour to get them to work during staff shortage. If I can get my words together, Mercury, don't mess with me. Mercury's in retrograde right now for those who don't know. All right. While the economy seems to be slowly recovering from 2022's record inflation, some businesses are still facing staffing shortages as the American workforce gets back on track. This has resulted in some employers utilizing desperate measures to keep employees on board. In a video with over 904,000 views, TikToker Slay Talk One says that the manager of his McDonald's offered $50 an hour to anyone willing to work on a certain day due to staff shortages. And it says, easiest money of my life, the caption reads. So on this, I pulled up the TikTok part. I might have to mute it because it has music and copyright stuff and everything else. But let me go back to the beginning and then, hold on, let me shrink my screen. There we go. So you can see. Wow. So yeah, this is him doing his TikTok and like, manager, due to staff shortage, I'm offering $50 to anyone who comes in today. So yeah. And apparently all of this was confirmed. So that's where we're at on that part. Now, back to the story, which says, in the comments section, many users were enthusiastic about the idea of working for such high wages. Catch me working all 24 hours, one user wrote. I would have worked till I dropped, and then I would have got back up, another added. I'd be sleeping in the store at that point. Come wake me up for 24-hour service, a third said. Slay Talk One claims he worked from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. Wow. If he did not take unpaid breaks, this would mean that he worked for 17 hours, totaling a cool $850 before tax. Trust me, I was popping it at McDonald's morning to night, he wrote in the comment. It says, while scores of users shared this excitement, others noted that the store's ability to pay such high wages meant that it could afford to raise its workers' regular wages too. So now they have the money to pay a living wage to people a user. I knew it was going to go there for that, but people have to understand. It was for a specific day, which was more than likely the busiest day, where they could afford to pay the premium for that day. Now, this may be something that restaurants may want to do, where it's like, okay, we have X amount of people that come in on whatever day of the week. Because so many people come in, yes, for this day only, we can afford to pay you a little bonus for coming in to work this specific day. But for the other days, if they're not making that extra money to justify the increase, then it's just like people really, really need to get more into business and learn how businesses work. Because there's so much stuff behind the scenes that people don't really think about that plays a role. So it isn't just that, a bunch of people want to not pay a living wage or not pay this or not pay that. It's all about what is available, because if they are paying out more money than money is coming in, then eventually you won't have a job that's paying you a wage, because they'll have to close shop or either lay people off, which is what usually happens. Is layoffs are starting right now at certain banks, at certain retail. I think Nordstrom's is closing like 100 retail locations because the money isn't coming in to justify keeping the locations open. So again, it's all about business. You have to know how it works. Now, back to the story. According to Snoops, McDonald's employees in Denmark enjoy benefits not typically offered to American workers, such as a starting wage of over $20 and 5 weeks of paid vacation. Prices also appear unaffected by the higher wages, with a Big Mac costing approximately the same in Denmark as it does in the United States. We reached out to Slay Talk 1 via TikTok comment and to McDonald's via email. So yeah, on the thing with Denmark, I would love to get down into the details, because the devil is always in the details. People like to use these comparisons that, oh, well, this country has this. Well, that country's economy is different from our economy. It is not going to always be the same. Also, you don't know if they're receiving subsidies in regards to that McDonald's in Denmark. Does Denmark do subsidies for that? How are those subsidies paid for? Do they come from taxes? Do they come from this? Do they come from that? There's so many variables in stuff like this. You can't just say, oh, well, it seems like they can pay it in Denmark and whatever, but it's the same cost and it's not really increasing anything. Okay, really, let's get down into the real numbers and see, not just a comparison of a Big Mac. Let's get down into everything. Let's get down into E&O insurance. Let's get down into regular insurance, health insurance for the employees. Let's get down into what it costs when an employee goes on vacation. Let's get down into what it costs to train new employees. And the list goes on and on and on. So, yeah. But I thought this was a cool story nonetheless. Let me get going. I have some other stuff to do. KIRWKC.com, main podcasting platform. This podcast is carried on Apple, Spotify, Google, iHeartRadio, Pandora, Overcast, Bullhorn, Amazon Music, Audible, and several other podcasting platforms. Please feel free to listen to this podcast on whatever platform is most convenient for you. KIRWKC on all the social media platforms. Till next time, be blessed.